Hey, welcome back, my amazing students. This is the Python Mentor here, helping you master Python step by step. So on this lecture, we're gonna start our final project, all right? So we're gonna build a real-world employee management system that's gonna combine all the major object-oriented programming principles like classes, inheritance, composition, polymorphism, into one complete mini project. Now, it's not going to have a GUI, it's not gonna have a graphical interface, a user interface, but it is going to be a really good example on how we apply all these concepts that we have learned before in the former lectures into everything right now, right? So this series is gonna have a couple different lectures, all right? So right now we're starting with lectures with part 1. It's gonna have part 1, part 2, part 3, I think part 4, all right? We're gonna take it step by step. We're gonna learn some really cool things, all right? All right, so I'm going to first start by importing the data class that we used before, right? You guys remember why we imported the data class, right? In the last lecture, in the last lectures. So the data class here is a decorator that is going to allow us to automatically generate some boilerplate stuff so that way we don't have to write that in all the classes, right? And this field here is used for default immutable fields like lists, all right? Don't worry too much if you don't understand it. We're gonna take it step by step and I'm going to explain it to you little by little. Now list here, okay? The list, and this is, give me 1 second, hold on. Somebody's knocking, give me 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, I had to pause the video. So this here is going to be type hint. We're gonna be able to type hint lists that hold employee objects, right? Anyway, so I'm not gonna explain every little details, but most I will. All right, so let's create the first class here, and let's go and create the employee class. All right. Since we're using data class, we don't have to define the init or any of those things, right? So this is gonna be str here. We're gonna have a role. And we're also going to have a salary. Yeah, and that's gonna be a string as well. All right. Now we're gonna define a common behavior that's gonna be shared by all employees here. And the common behavior is going to be work. Okay, simple as that. And here we're just gonna print something out and we're gonna say like, let's put F string here and we're gonna say self is working. And this is just so we can see it in the console as a, and we're gonna do this self and role. Simple as that, okay? All right, let's go ahead and we don't even need to define the str. As a matter of fact, we could have a human readable method here so we can see things a little bit cleaner than the other one. The other one is for debugging. So let's go ahead and return F string here with the self name. Self role. So that way we can see everything that's going on, right? And the self salary here. Let me put a dollar symbol there. As a matter of fact, let me also put some decimal spaces here. Let me format it to decimal places. All right. All right, this is done here. Let me go ahead and create the next one. The next one should be let's have a developer. So I'm gonna use the data class here again. Now this developer here is going to inherit the employee class, is also going to demonstrate polymorphism, and is gonna have a type, it's gonna be a type of employee, right? With its own little twist, its own little work habits, all right? So this is gonna be a class, and this will be developer. All right, we're gonna pass in the employee, right? This is the class that we're gonna pass in here, right? So everybody needs to apply to use this guy here. If not, then we're gonna have a problem, right? Everybody needs to work, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and call this programming language. This is going to be, we're going to assign this to, say, Python. All right, we're creating this variable here, this new attribute, sorry. All right. So we're also going to have a work method here. All right. We need to implement this so this actually works. So this one here is we're going to say is coding, and let's just put the programming language here. All right. Simple as that. All right. Now, these are also called, this is a, the self, this is a traditional attribute, guys. Just keep that in mind. And this is a data class attribute, okay? So just in case you guys were wondering. Now, let's go ahead and create another class here. And this one will be the manager. Manager. And we're also going to inherit the employee from there. Simple as that, all right? Sometimes when I'm copy and pasting, I'll do that on purpose so that way you guys can, I can slow down a little bit because I can be a little fast sometimes when I speak. So this one here will have a team, and it's going to be a list, and we're going to pass in the employee here, all right? And we're going to use this field here. Now, field functions used inside the data class here to customize how the attributes actually behave, especially when you need default values, all right, or mutable types like the list. Just keep that in mind. Now, let's go ahead and have a default factory. You can see that that's already pre-filled in there, okay? So it's not something that I'm making up. You might be asking yourself, where is this coming from, right? So this here will be the list that this each manager is going to have a team list, right? And of course, we need to have this function or method as well. And here we could say is managing, because since he's a manager, a team of, okay, and what I could say here is we have a team here, we have a list, right, of people, of employees. So what we can do here, we can say team. But what I can do, I can use the length function, and I can give it the amount. All right. Right here. People. All right, so 3 people, 5 people, whatever. We can count it just like that, okay? And lastly, what I'm gonna do for this class here, and to finish this, we're gonna add a function to add a team, because this guy here is the manager, so we should be able to add, he should be able to add people to it, right? To the team. So this one here will be an employee that we're gonna take from the outside, and we are going to type to hint this to be a type of employee, right? As simple as that. As a matter of fact, we can actually, goes inside here, just like that. And now we close it here, all right? We're just saying here, this needs to be an employee, whatever comes in here. Well, you can see that it's a type of employee, okay? Alrighty, yeah, so let's grab the team and we're gonna append to that list. All right, we have done this stuff here, and I have a mastering list course here on YouTube. You guys can look at that if you want. Really cool course, all right? So anyway, let me just write it here real quick, guys, and we're almost done. All right, so what I'm gonna do here, I'm going to say add it, and then we're gonna grab the employee that's gonna come in, and that employee, since is from this guy's type employee, we have name, role, and salary, right? So name, and here we're gonna say, so add employee to, and then we gotta say the name of the employee. So self.name team, right? So added Maria to, added the name Maria to the name of the team. all right, to, I don't know, TPM's team, okay? Simple as that. So now, here, what we can do is we can check and we can say employee number 1 here. So let's go ahead and instantiate this guy here. Let's call this Jose. Of course, right? You guys knew exactly what I was gonna do, right? And this employee here should be the manager, right? As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and make Maria the manager because Maria makes more money than Jose for some reason. All right. Next time, Jose, I got you on my eye, so that way you can, make more money. Don't worry. So Maria is making $5,000 a month or something, right? Then we're gonna have, so this here would not be an employee. This would be a manager. Here we're gonna make a developer. So we're gonna say developer number 1 because we can make as many as we want, right? As many different employees we want. We can have a bunch of developers, a bunch of employees, regular employee, a bunch of managers. So the developer could be, Jose could be a developer. And we can say backend developer. Jose knows Python, so Jose is gonna make just $4,000 a month, which that is a lie. It should be making a lot more than that. Maria is gonna be making $15,000 a month, and Jose is gonna be making at least 10 grand starting, all right? At least, and this is just going, Anyway, and then we're gonna have, as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and put him here, a regular employee. And the regular employee doesn't make much, so I'm gonna call this guy, I'm gonna call him William, and William is going to be, let's just say, a guy as a receptionist. Oh my God, but yeah, it can happen. William is gonna make $5,000 a month, all right? That's a good salary for a regular employee, right? For a receptionist. So here, what we can do is we can say work. We can call this. And now we can print this out and we can say E1 here. Let's just make the print statement here. Like this with a new line, and we can say employee overview. Let's see if this runs. I've written a lot of code here. We don't know if it's gonna run 100%, so let's check it out. All right, you can see that it did run, and we can see that William is working as a receptionist, and employee overview, William receptionist, $5,000, right? So now if I go ahead and do the same thing for the rest of them, right here, let me just make this a little bigger here so you can see it. So let's say the manager, and let's say the developer, right? And now just print them out here, so that way you guys can see it. But let's do this in order, right? M1, and then D1. Let's go ahead and execute this. And you can see William is working as a receptionist, Maria is working as a manager, Jose is working as a backend developer. And you can see how much they are making here. This is just an overview, all right? So this is the first part of our application. Make sure that you write this stuff down. Now, we are demonstrating a couple things that we have learned here, and you guys already can tell that we are doing that, right? So here, remember that we're gonna do a little recap here so that you guys understand exactly what we are covering, okay? Because I wrote a lot of stuff down here and I didn't explain every little detail yet because I wanted to recap. So we start from the top, right? So we have the base class, employee, okay? This is the main class that everybody's gonna be inheriting from, okay? You can see now that we're using data class to produce this boilerplate code that we do in all the classes, like the init, some of the magic methods like EQ and so on, okay? Then we are implementing this here, this method. We are doing basically method overriding, polymorphism, right? We redefine work to make it behave differently for a developer, for a manager. So that's polymorphism, okay? Now here in this manager, let's say as an example here, This is another class of an employee. Demonstrate inheritance. And he also demonstrate polymorphism and composition. Why does it show a composition here? Let me show you. So composition, we are adding to the team here. So composition in action. A manager has an employee. You can see it right here. All right. This manager has an employee, has employees actually, is a list, right? We have a list here, and it has employees inside each team. So this is a composition in action, okay? And then we have polymorphism here as well. Different behavior for a manager as a different behavior for the developer, okay? So we're learning, we're doing quite a bit here, okay? And then we're just testing out our things here. All right, we're instantiating them. We're demonstrating polymorphism here. All right, each work method behaves differently. So really cool stuff. And then we're just printing things out here. All right, so this is a progressive course, and we're covering everything that we have learning, all the lessons that we have in the back, in the list here, in the playlist in YouTube. Anyway, guys, the link is in the description. Subscribe, like, and thank you so much for the support. I'll see you guys on the next lecture.